Well, hello everyone. This is Chrism, and I'd like to welcome you to this conversation about your Kundalini awakening experiences. In this conversation, I'd like to talk about anger management and the Kundalini. They give you all these options with this live thing, and they just won't let you do your video. Okay, so anger management. As I mentioned in the last video, how the senses are amazingly amplified by the Kundalini, so will your anger be amazingly amplified. You will feel levels of rage and fury that are off the scale of perhaps what you've ever had happen to you before. You'll feel great levels of anger come up. And it's not anger just from, what happened today or last night or last week. It's anger about what has happened your entire life. It is anger about, the lie of society, the lies of humanity, the fantasies, the unfulfilled goals, the difficulties that you've experienced at the hands of other people and at the hands of yourself. You're going to feel tremendous levels of rage wash through you, so much so that parts of your body may contract and boil with rage. And this is normal. This is part of the detoxification. You've got to go through this to some degree. You won't necessarily go through it all at once. It'll come in stages. It'll come in waves. It'll come when you're ready to let go of certain and specific levels of anger. And what you must do is first of all, you don't need to direct it at anybody else. Okay? What has happened to you in your life has had to happen in order for you to be where you are with this. So, let's just say that you were in a relationship with an individual that treated you very unfairly. And even if, that was an agreed upon premise, which is not normal, but that would be, you were still treated unfairly. The ego was still assaulted in its mind unfairly. And you've got to understand that Kundalini is not fair. It's one of the most unfair things that you can have happen to you. It is not fair, mommy. And it never was. And that's the way it is. That's the way that she will come to you. She will release the embedded toxins within you that cause you to become angry at why it's there, at what happened, and why did it happen, and how was it handled, and how was it mishandled. It's a big subject. I mean, I'm just going to, within the amount of time that they give me to talk about it here, I don't know how much time that is. And I was told just a little while ago that my network wasn't supporting it, so, we'll see. This is where unconditional forgiveness comes into play again, once again. This is why all aspects of forgiveness are really highlighted in the safety protocols for Kundalini awakening, which you can see at www.kundalinisafeties.com. Kundalini Safeties, all one word. You get to have this anger. You get to have it, you get to hold it, and you get to express it. And in many, many ways, you have to express it in order to expel it. A tree can be your friend in this way. They call it a whipping tree. You're not going to hurt the tree. But you can yell at the tree, you can hit the tree if you want. But you've got to get this stuff out of you. It's toxic. How you were treated unfairly by so-and-so, how you were, the situation was manipulated to create pain and unfairness within you. All of these things. It's like St. Teresa of Avila said, though. She said that the person that gave her the most trouble was the person that gave her the most gifts at the same time, because she had to learn how to overcome those troubles. We have Inara drinking in the background, just in case you can hear that. She's a loud drinker. Anyway, Inara is the German Shepherd of the household, the big dog. Thank God she doesn't have anger management issues. Anyway, so it's... Oh, no. She'll steal the show, Sherry. If I bring her on camera, both of them will. They're so cute. Anyway, when you experience the unfairness of, say, a relationship, a person with which you have been extremely confidential with and intimate with, and someone you could have married, or someone that you could have, had that level of relationship with. These are the levels where the Kundalini is doing its work. These are those levels where as much trust as can be given at that time is being given, and it's still not fair. It's still not fair. And the fairness issue is going to be the issue that the ego will often grab onto first, because we're in a society of duality, and what's good for the goose is good for the gander, what's good for the guy is good for the gal, these types of things. So part of the understanding within this is that you must learn to let go. You must learn to forgive, and you'll never forget it. So forgive and forget does not really apply here. You're not supposed to forget it, but you are supposed to forgive it. This is the big step. This is the hard work. You have to remember it in every hurtful detail. Remember it completely. Relive it. Experience the anger about it. And then forgive it. Forgive it. Cross that bridge. There's a real beautiful bridge between experiencing the cause of the anger, the unfairness, and crossing that bridge into forgiveness. At first, it's like one of those rope bridges. You're like, oh shit, am I going to fall into the river? And so cross it, be careful, don't lose your grip, don't lose your footing, cross the bridge. Come into that level of forgiveness. You see, this really opens the door of detoxification and purification of the physical body too. Not just the emotional body is being purified here, it's also the physical body, those parts of the physical body which will constrict with anger. The adrenal glands, the heart, the lungs, the reproductive organs, everywhere. The emotional body permeates our entire system. And it's important for you to cross that bridge into forgiveness, knowing full well that somebody hurt you, that somebody seemingly took advantage of you. And I say seemingly because you don't know the whole story. You don't know what your karma is. You don't know that this was a very necessary thing for you to experience in order for you to go to the next step. It had to happen. And it had to happen the way it happened. Most of the Kundalini teachings you receive will not be haphazard or accidental. There is no real accidental Kundalini teaching. When she comes to you, she knows the time is right. She knows she had to hook you up with that person. She knows what the agenda was. And she let it play out the way it did. She didn't slap that person. Maybe she did. I don't know. It had to play out the way it did in order for things to be the way they are. For you to be where you are in your life. For you to be in the situation you are in your life. And no, that's not always going to be a great situation, but often it will be. You know, you may be in a different country. You may be in a different environment. You may be in an environment that's more suitable to your nature. But the trauma had to occur. The trauma had to occur, and your forgiveness also must occur. And it needs to be spontaneous and all the time. So I've said it in other videos and other places, like YouTube, the YouTube videos. You know, somebody cuts you off on the freeway. Well, you forgive them immediately. Somebody doesn't open the door for you and you've got a load of groceries. Well, you just forgive them immediately and try to open the door with your foot. Standing on one foot. You know, someone does something nasty to you. Really nasty. You know, like, you know, some sort of a sexual deprivation or something like that, and you just forgive it. Whatever it is. Nobody gets away with anything on this world. Nobody. It may seem that way because you're not the one that's giving out the justice for whatever crime or whatever mistake was committed. But nobody gets away with anything. We all pay the price for every single thing we have done. Everything. That price will be paid, and you just need to recognize that and understand that and trust that. Take the idea of revenge right out of your system because it's not going to help you. It's not going to hurt them. And if you commit the revenge, then you've just hurt yourself even more than the original anger or mistake that caused you to want to commit revenge committed. You've made it worse. The anger management must occur for you, my friend, for all of us that have the Kundalini. You cannot go around wanting revenge. You have really got to take a step back, look at what's happening, look at the anger issue, look at what was done to you and committed upon you by a person in error, obviously, and forgive them. Let it go. Let it go. Keeping it in you is just going to cause you more and more and more pain. And eventually, you'll see that mistake committed against you actually was a great gift that your ego rage at the time would not allow you to recognize. Ego rage. Think about that term. Ego rage. This is what blinds you to the truth of the gifts that are given, that are not given through, you know, floating hearts and jumping bunnies. Not the cotton candy apple gifts with unicorns. Sorry, got nothing against unicorns. See, I've got a unicorn. So really take a look at this. Take a look at it. Take a hard look at who you have a grudge. Who are you holding a grudge to? And why? What did they do to you that created that grudge response from you? What did they do? How happen to you? How did that encourage you to want to hold that grudge? You know, was it a bad teacher? Was it a bad lover? Was it a bad boss? Was it a bad stranger? What happened? Relive it, feel it, and cross the bridge into forgiveness of it. And as you keep crossing that bridge changes from a rope bridge to a wooden bridge, and from a wooden bridge to a metal bridge, and from a metal bridge to a cement bridge, and to a very, very permanent bridge. It gets better and better and better the more you practice it. But you'll go through that space of feeling the anger again, and feeling the unfairness and the imbalance. And how could Kundalini have allowed me into that type of a situation? WTF. Which means, what the frost? What the frost was going on there? So anyway, if you're having the anger, good. That's a good thing. Experience it. Experience it fully. See that bridge off in the distance. Start walking towards it. Start walking towards it. Do not reach into revenge. Revenge will only hurt you. Will not hurt the other person. Walk over that bridge and go into deep contemplative forgiveness. That is the key to your bliss, to your love, to your freedom from the agony of anger. Thanks for watching.